Well, and then the last four shows since then, I did Akira Kurosawa, which is a very good show. Andrei Tarkovsky, which had Donato Totaro from the '68 in film show, and he actually got himself a good camera. I told him what kind of webcam to get, so he got himself a good camera, and he's much more clear and understandable in that one, and that was good. Then I interviewed this guy Arnie Dietrich on creativity, and that's a good show, but it's one of those shows that this guy has these theories on creativity, and yet he doesn't understand things. When I talk about my three intellects posit or something, he doesn't get this. He says, well, we're not getting the full picture or something. And he tries to equate, he thinks that there's
Yeah,
not
just
really,
because you're using broad strokes,
yeah.
it's as if you can't really encompass every kind of intellect and every degree when there's billions of people on this planet.
And he goes on about, for example, that he thinks that there's not that science, that it's a false dichotomy about creativity and science and the arts. And right there, now again, if I had been debating him, I would have really taken issue with that. I bring that up, and I demur a couple. I rebut a few times mildly. But I mean, there's simply no way. And I said, but how do you account for the fact that if there's no Einstein, there's a Niels Bohr who's going to figure out the same stuff Einstein did. Or if there's no Marconi, you've got a Nikola Tesla. Or if you don't have Darwin, you have Wallace. There's no fill-in for Herman Melville. There's no fill-in for Beethoven. I think I used those examples. And then the last show was on Robinson Jeffers, and that was another good show. These were again mostly these ones on Jeffers, Tarkovsky, Kurosawa, Fellini, are more or less panels talking about the life and times introductory shows. I really do wish, though, that there was someone who could really change my viewpoint or show me something that I'm missing or something. But I think it's a testament to my quality as a critic, but also the fact that most people don't approach art or science or life or inquiry into these
You
things
should
the
do
way
a
I
show.
do.
You should do a show on like dislike versus good and bad, as well as objectivity versus subjectivity.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'll just write that down. I'd have to find an in though. You know, but
See,
anyway.
there's a group we've mentioned the E-list many times. There's a group of email recipients who go back and forth. We send many things to each other, but the fact that a bunch of 20-year-olds can get this and people who are in their adult age is really quite damning to a lot of the
But
supposed
let me
artists and
tell you something. And let
scientists.
me toot my own horn. The reason that you or Alex or Keith or maybe this young kid in India, Mohul, or this young Chinese kid, Ezekiel, or some of these other people, Neil, the reason that you guys get this is that you had maybe some inklings when you guys were 12 or 15 and starting to the arts, but you had the fortune of stumbling across Cosmoetica before some professor could say, no, no, that's not how it does. Because you were reading my essays, that's the thing that in a sense saved you. And I know Alex Sherman has told me that's exactly what, that he would not be what he is creatively or intellectually without Cosmoetica. So have some other people over the years too.
That's likely true to a degree, just as the whole notion of free verse opened up to you when you read Walt Whitman. But the idea of objectivity versus subjectivity is a much more revolutionary one than just opening up the form, simply because it gives you the ability to replicate your results. And yes, you crystallize that very well. So that's probably true. But it's the fact that it's not as if these aren't out there to older folks, Dan. I'm saying that
But they've gone. But
once the mind
yeah,
hardens and they're refusing to be receptive to new ideas, there's you can't do that in your life. You have to be constantly growing, and if you find something that's better, then you should be able to be receptive to it, regardless of your age.
it's about the plasticity of the mind, and this is one of the reasons when I'm writing, when I'm doing this spy book, I'm doing it in a way structurally different than any other book that I've done. And the next book that I'm going to do, the Gorgeous George book that I've mentioned, is going to be different again still. And the reason I do that is not just to be different for different sakes. But I don't want to repeat the Vincetti brothers, no matter how great that was. I don't want to repeat Tumbleweeds. I don't want to repeat Bit of Golem. I don't want to repeat A Norwegian in the Family.